Hello. There we go. Hello. I'm a little low. I'm a little low in my camera. I think. I think I'm low. Just a smidge. There we go. Hi, Solar Balloon here. I'm an independent game developer. I'm the creator of Master Plan. I'm the creator of Tetra 3D. I do different things. And today we're going to be working on this game that I've been working on for the past couple weeks. Not consistently because things have kind of come up here and there, but yeah, this little maze game. Yeah, so basically this is a game that I've been working on for a while. It is a game kind of like Pac-Man a little bit, but you are not Pac-Man, you are the ghost. You're trying to prevent these rats from eating the cheese. And so you have to, in this case, I can body check them and send them flying and then capture them when they're stunned. It just crashed because there was no more coins. There was nothing else for them to get. So we're going to be working on this today. There's a lot to do, and it'll be pretty good. It'll be pretty dope. If you're unfamiliar with me as a streamer, as a game developer, I work on Linux. So this is Linux. This is Endeavor OS. This is the GNOME desktop environment with a few add-ons to make it look pretty cool, I think. Blur my shell, an add-on to handle kind of some partitioning like that. Yeah, so it looks nice and smooth and modern and cool to me. Let's get some music going and then we'll just get started. This will work and we'll make sure the volume's not too loud. There we go. Excellent. All right. So yeah, so I'm the creator of Tetra 3D. If you're unfamiliar with Tetra 3D, it is a basically a, hold up, what is up with this frames? Okay, I guess that's fine. Let's see. Actually, North Antara says, very neat. Is Go becoming a common language for game dev? I'm not very terribly clued into that realm. No, it's not. Well, for 3D games, no, it's not. For because mainly for 2D games, like, okay, the primary way that you would make a game with Go is to use something like Ebit, which is a 2D game development framework. It's primarily just like graphics, input, and sound. There isn't really any like physics or map editing or map loading or anything like that. So it's pretty simple. It's pretty much just like the base layer of your game, and then you build stuff on top or use different other packages for physics and map editing or map, loading maps created in other tools like Tiled or LDTK, different things like that. Now, what I did with Tetra 3D is I made a 3D renderer that uses Ebit to render the triangles. So this is a kind of like a faux 3D game. Everything is true 3D, but it's not using OpenGL calls to draw triangles in 3-dimensional space. It is instead drawing 2-dimensional triangles and then rendering that to a depth texture to do depth sorting as necessary. So it's hard, you can't really tell in this case. It looks just kind of like a low poly 3D scene, like you might see in a Unity game or something like that, or Game Maker. But this is basically not really using your traditional like 3D engine and 3D framework, 3D game engine like rendering system. So it's a little unique. If we press F3, you can see this is the depth texture. Sorry that it looks visually harsh, but that's just what a depth texture looks like. what this depth texture looks like. It's a packed depth texture, which means that basically I'm encoding the depth for all of the triangles in each triangle visually using colors. So basically the closer it gets to the camera, the more blue it appears, and then the further away it gets, the more red, green, or the closer the camera gets, the darker it appears, and the further away it gets, the more red it gets. So and it cycles through all the channels. Anyway, so yeah, in answer to your question, Go is common for 2D game development. It's not very common for 3D game development because there's not really any 3D game engines out there. There's a few, but they're basically mostly just desktop focused, because, well, I guess just because of maturity, really. I don't think that Go is a bad language for 3D game development. I actually like it. And I think that this idea could be expanded or used for something like GoGL, or I'm trying to think of another example. I think there's a couple more 3D like engines that were attempted with Go. I think one was Azul 3D, but I think that was basically shuttered. They're not working on that anymore. I think it's definitely possible to do, but I think that you have to like design the 3D to work properly, the API to work properly in such a way where basically I think you have to like separate the API from the how you render things, so that you don't end up like tying rendering directly into your 3D code, because then you have an issue of like, oh, OpenGL doesn't compile on, or the OpenGL library you're using may not compile on certain platforms or something like that, and so you run into problems, right? So very long explanation that doesn't actually answer your question. I'm sorry. But basically, you said sort of like SDL. Yeah, Ebitingen is like SDL. So SDL, Ebitingen, GLFW. Love 2D is a little more high level, I would say, but kind of similar. Piglet, not Pygame, but Piglet was more kind of like OpenGL, but for Python. Those kinds of like, maybe a little bit extra on top, bindings and functions, but it's basically kind of up to you to design the rest. So this 3D thing, Tetra 3D, that I made actually is like a full, kind of like a game engine a little bit. It's a 3D renderer, but it also has a Blender exporter for exporting the game scene, and it also has not physics, but collision detection. So you kind of have a little bit more than a traditional rendering framework, but it's not a full engine because I don't have an engine loop here. I'm basically leaving that up to the developers to, the people who use my library to implement for each game. So in this case, I did this for this game. I made the little, update loop for all of the objects, but Tetra 3D handles the rendering and all that stuff. So recently what I added was the ability to specify a mesh as being unique. That's very useful because if a mesh is unique, then when you clone a model that uses that mesh, the mesh will also be cloned. So for example, our enemies, they should have unique meshes because they animate differently, right? You might spawn 3 enemies and you don't want them to all use the same mesh because then they'll animate incorrectly, right? Because it's like, you advance the frame for this guy and then that advances the frame for all the other guys because they all share the same mesh. So instead, I have this nice little simple toggle that says, hey, anything that uses this mesh gets a unique mesh anytime it uses it. Very nice, very useful. It doesn't have to be unique, that should be, yeah. So that was like the most recent thing I just added. Excuse me. Okay, we can close this, I believe. All right, so there's quite a few things that we could hang around with. We could kind of mess around with. I think I want them to move a little slower, and of course we want the things they're picking up to be cheese rather than coins. Somebody said maybe it would be cool to have like a different skin where you can be like cops and robbers, or in this case, a chef and rats eating cheese and stuff like that. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure if that's a lot of art to have that kind of like, what version of the game do you want to play? But I also kind of like that idea. Now that I think about it, it feels very very old school game, like where different localizations would get different art and entirely different contexts for the game. Like I think there was one game where it's like you're it's like you're a floating mask. It's not a no mask. It is a. It's the red mask with the big nose, and you're flying through New York and you're like attacking things. But then when it got to America, they changed it to be a zombie or something. It was like, it's just completely different. And it's like, this was on the Nintendo. So this was 1989, 1992, whatever. And it's just that, it kind of reminds me of that kind of like Super Mario Brothers 2 / Doki Doki Panic. Just entirely different localization where it's just like, let's just make a different, a whole different like set of characters or a whole different set of art assets. All right, so what we're gonna do, let's go ahead and change these sprites, change these coins. We'll do that right here. Also, the coin was animated. I never actually put the animation in the game. What's your traditional cheese shape? I guess it would be something like, it's a hunk of cheese, right? So it would be, we just go for a triangle like that. Plus, some depth. That reads as cheese. That's pretty good. It's a little dark. We could go something like that. Oops. Let me see. I have some outlining, right, on these guys? I do not have outlining. Okay. So then this is pretty good, I think. Okay, something like this. That reads as cheese, I think. I think that reads as cheese. And let's see, do we want to add any animation? I don't feel like we do. I feel like there's not really much animation we can have for cheese. I guess what we can do like, oh, I saved this as coin. Save this as cheese. I guess what we can do is and I'm feeling pretty good actually right now. I'm feeling pretty solid about this. I think we can have a little like kind of like floating animation, maybe. We'll see if we can get that going. That we don't need. There we go. There we go. Let's rotate this guy like that. All right, there's our cheese. Looks pretty delicious, actually. Like something that somebody would definitely want to try to get. Okay. I think it would be cool to have like some kind of like yeah, he's definitely gonna get that before I got there. I think it would be cool to animate it for one, but then also actually maybe there we go. I think it would be cool to animate the cheese. There's no cheese, huh? All right, we'll do it. Let me zoom in a little bit for everybody at home. Okay. Model. Node model. Oh, that should be node. Cool. Okay, so the idea that I had was basically we would be just slowly kind of like changing the scale. Like this. All right, so then we should be able to say map.sign cheese.level.game time. We do not have that, huh? So we can keep a running update of the game time, which we can use for just this little effect of things taking place over time. Let's go, we'll float 64. 64. There we go. All right, so then we go back over here, and then we can just say map.sign game time times map.pi. So it's like 0.9 plus this times 0.2, something like that. And then we can just say this is this as well, plus like 0.75, something like that. So this should kind of do what we were looking for, I think. Let's see if it does. This won't do anything immediately. Actually, I forget. This needs to be cheese. There we go. Go to the level. Coin. Here we go. Crash. Okay, that's good. Oh, there's no, yeah. It doesn't identify, or it's not identifying. It doesn't look for coins anymore. It looks for cheese now. Yeah, kind of something like that. Something that's kind of like a little look. Let's go a little bit harder in terms of time. And let's make the equal, like, we'll say 0.05. There we go. All right, then we want to, that might do it. Let's see. It's pretty good. We can't go any like smaller really. Like, can we go just like tiny? Will it even show up? Kind of does. Ah, he got it. All right, that was pretty good. That's pretty good. So now we want to add some sort of like HUD where we can see how many cheese amounts, how much cheese we have. So we can do that here. I'm just trying to think of, trying to think about exactly where I want to do it. We can just go something like that. Let's add a camera. Actually, can sit down. There we go. Maybe like a 20, I guess. Oh, 10. All right, so now we can just say we want to add an object that will, let's see. We want to add an object that basically says how much cheese we have left. So this will be that object. It will be a text plane that basically says like, oh, you have so many, you know, cheeses. All right, so now we can go to system, UI is a scene. Assets, GLTF, find scene. GUI. Clone it. Okay. Oh, wait, no. The GUI, this is for like a single level. Yeah, we don't want this here. We want GUI to be its own thing. Okay. Screen. There we go. Cool. All right, so now we go back to main. We should be able to just put this in pretty much anywhere. We'll put it here. Okay, and then we can say game.gui update, game.gui.draw. Cool. Okay, so now we don't need this stuff with the GUI. Close others. Go. Okay, right. So now we say cam equals GUI.scene.root.get GUI camera. The camera. Scene. Render scene. Scene. Clear. Scene.raw image. Cam.color texture. Nil. Okay, so that should cover it. We should see a gray square. Yep, there it is, top left corner. All right, we need a texture, a font. For now, we'll just go with a TTF font, although a bitmap font would be really good at some stage for me to implement. What font would be good? Let's go with this one for now. All right, so now we want to just say let's see. All right, so this was going to be GUI scene.root.get this guy, which is, this is his cheese count. And then the camera is this guy. Okay. All right, so this should kind of do it. It's not there. It's because, oh, I think I have to actually export it. And there we go. Okay, cool. So now we should be able to say textplane.set text testing. Is that it? Is that all I need to do? Cool. There we go, testing. It'd be cool if it were transparent. So that's what we'll do, I guess. Pop a clip. Is that all we need to do? I don't think. Oh no, I remember now. Okay. Apply style. Okay, style dot bg dot set to 0. So now it should be, yeah, there we go, testing. Cool. Oh wait, do I have like outlining and stuff? No? Okay, so I could definitely do that. I could do that. How would I do that? Well, I'd have to be with a shader, I guess. Split with separator, set text, outline, shadow. Yeah, I could do that. I wonder, do I really want to do that? I don't, but I could though. Let me think. I mean, I could just like make a system where you have outlining, you have shading, but I don't really want to do it. But it's so easy. All right, so let me let me not get caught up here. We want sources, get assets, Monaco as font. I don't have font. Okay. That's an interface? Yes, then this is already... Is that what this asks for? Yes, okay. All right, so then we just go down here and we say, hey, is it a TTF? In which case, I don't actually know how this works. Oh, is it open type? I guess it's maybe TTF.parse. No, open type.parse. Okay, data should now be a SM. So can I just do asset.data equals font data? Is this a font face? No, this is not a face, right? Yeah, I need to make face equals new face. I don't quite remember how to do this. Let's look it up. Because I can't remember how this works. Yeah, okay. Hold up, let me just do it like this. How they load the thing here, they make opentype.newface. Got it. I think DPI was 70, something like that. So open type new face. Data. Bruh. Oh, why is he barking now, dude? Why is he barking now, dude? What's he barking about, bruh? All right, he's not gonna shut up. Give me a second. All right, I am back. Okay, so what's the issue here? Why is this no longer working? I think it's just being weird. Yes, okay. All right, cool. Okay, that works. But now when we add the font, it doesn't work, right? Yeah. Oh, it's because we forgot to set options here. Guy is 72, 70. Let's see. Traditional DPI for fonts. Is it 72? 96? It's 96. Is it 96? I don't know. We'll see. All right, that looks exactly correct. Cool. All right. You know what? I really do want some like fancy schmancy schmancy like rendering. So I'm wondering if I should add like shadows and outlines, because I feel like it would be pretty easy to do. Let me think. How would I even do it? So it would render with a shader. Like it would, it's not so much that I'm thinking about how it would work, because like it's pretty trivial to do. The thing that I'm kind of worried about though is how do I do how do I do like, hold on, let's break out a sprite real quick one more time. So let's say the text is something like this. Right, let's say it's this T. So it's pretty simple. If you want to do outlines, you just basically, you know, for each pixel say, okay, check around you. So let's say that this is the pixel. Check around you. Are any of them solid? No. Okay, so then you're invisible. All right, check around you. Are any of you solid? Yes. Okay, so then you're visible. And so there you go. Now you have an outline. You just do that for all the pixels. That's how a shader works. That's how you do an outline. All right, no problem. Now here's how do we do shadows, right? It's the same thing. We just say you look in one direction and that's a shadow, right? There you go. So now there's a shadow underneath the T. All right, cool. But now how do we outline after having done the shadow? That's where I'm kind of like, because we could do it as a separate pass, but we don't want to have to do that, right? Because you want to ideally do something like this and then, you know, outline it, right? Like this. So it looks nice and solid. That's the ideal. So how do we do that? After we do the shadow, we can run the outline, but we have, like, if we want to do it in one pass, we have to take into the account the fact that we shadowed, and then I guess we just add one. Okay. Yeah. So I guess we could just do like the outline, but we draw the outline underneath the shadow and then just bake it in. So we're like, oh, there's a shadow. It is 1 pixel large and it is in this direction. So we just outline 1 pixel more in the opposite direction. So you end up with this result. We want both round and square shadows. So that if we have something like this, also it should be like this. If we have something like this, it ends up like this, right? We want round and square shadows. To make it look nice, I will squish this together like that. There we go. I guess actually we could just do this. Cool. So we want both round and square shadows, and we also want this. I think it would be cool to have both shadows and maybe embossing, or maybe gradients. It'd be cool if we could have gradients between like the start and end. So like if we have, let's say, something like this. This is hard to even wrap my head around. We're 3 out. 1, 2, 3. Should we be like this? Let me see. I think it's like that. All right, cool. So something like this, let's say. I guess it would be nice to have something like this, so we could have different colors. And then we have to have like, maybe push this over. So it's round. So the shadows can also be round or not. So these are round shadows. So like these are round shadows. These are square shadows. Because they are only checking like left, right, up, or down by one vector. So like this doesn't check. This checks maybe on both vectors. Okay, so there's some things that like this would be really cool if we could end up with this effect live. That'd be just dope. And then on top of that, if we could gradient it, like sorry if that was a little loud, but if we could gradient it so that it actually like gets darker as it gets further down, like buddy, you are my hero if you manage to do something to this degree. This is way better than we have any right to be doing. Actually, let me pick some more. If we had a gradient too, oh, that would be disgusting. All right, so here's what we're gonna do, because I'm getting a little hyped now that I banged out the theory. I want it to look nice. And this is also something that, like, if you don't do this kind of thing, it's kind of like it's too simple. You know what I mean? Like, if you just have plain text drawing, it's like, that's fine, but there's so much more that you need to do. Hold on, let me think. All right, here's what we're gonna do. Let's break out a new window. What did I say I was gonna do for text? There we go. So I said I wanted outlines, gradients. I wanted maybe other patterns. I'm not sure what I mean by that. Parsing text for per effect letters. It might require grading the glyphs to individual images to render. Could also involve shaders. Bold, italics, strike through. Letters fading in or out, flickering. Okay, so there's a lot here. I think I would be happy with just outlines and maybe shadows, just because you can do a lot with shadows. Like, they can be thicker, they can be heavier, they can be round, they can not, you know, not be round. So it's like, I don't want to work on too many things at once. If we do this with shaders, I think I'm trying to see, because Percent perfect. So, I mean, really, this could just be per letter coloring. So how would we do per letter colors? You would parse the letters. That's something else. That's something else entirely. I'm not even sure how I would do that, because like, how would you know in the shader that it's like the 5th letter or the 2nd letter? I guess that's one idea. You could send like an array of no. I'm trying to think of how exactly I'd do this. For now, maybe just outlines. Okay, let me take a look here to see how text works. Because we already are doing something with like, yeah, material here. So we could probably we could just make a custom material that does stuff for text. All right, that's not too hard of a concept. Let's give it a shot. We'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens. So we're gonna, I guess, make a folder. We'll make a folder specifically for shaders here. All right. Can I get the Kage everything? Is it still called editing? This is weird. I feel like there's something like, yeah, I feel like there's some kind of like issue here. Yeah, it's weird. Let me see. Show recommendations from all sources. Oh, OpenVSX. Okay. I see. So this is the this is the open source version of code. Got it. All right. Well, I'll just install this manually, I guess. Okay. For now, I can't think of anything else. All right. Any other way to do this? Can I get a fract? Can I get a fract, like, can I get, I mean, I know you have the, or wait, is it the, no? Is it the editing? No. I know that there's a starting, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Okay. So yeah, give me a fragment. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So we'll start with this for now. And see how far we get. So we should be able to just say mesh part material dot shader equals new shader. Should be able to say embed shaders text packet like that, and then we can just say text shader all right, so something like that. cd examples cd text. All right, only allowed in Go files that import embed. Okay, understood. Okay, understood. Something like that. Okay, expected package. Oh, whoops. Okay, cool. So here it is. So now what we want to do is we want to pass into the shader options. The image should be the texture, and then we should be able to just like read it like this. 0 unsafe at text. So this should basically give us the same result. Okay, cool. Now, I guess that means that if we're always going to be using a shader, then that means that the background and foreground colors should be not rendered on the thing. Like the background color should be inherently blank. The foreground color should probably be white, and then we should mix it in the shader, which is fine. Like this. Something like that. I mean, I guess we could just use color as foreground color. No, because we don't want to. Well, we'll leave it alone like that, I guess, for now. So I'm thinking. Oh, whoops. I'm thinking that this should be a good start here. We want to hold on, let me think. All right, so yeah, what we're gonna do, we're gonna kind of switch things around a little bit. We will not be rendering text directly. The foreground color will always be white. Let me see. 255, right? Yeah, okay. So we have 255 for all of these. So that's that. The textile is just background, foreground. Yeah, okay. So then this stuff are uniforms, get basically turned into uniforms. Okay, so then when we run it, it should now be just basically transparent, white on transparent. That is correct. Cool. All right, but then we want to set the shader. Well, I guess that means that the textile, like when we edit the textile, I guess that means that we need to flush the changes to like anytime you edit this stuff, it should change the uniform value, because we could put the uniform, the options, the shader options directly in the textile, and then editing these through functions will update the uniform. That makes sense. Okay. Not ideal though. Ideally we want to set them directly, but I don't think there's a way to do that. I think that this is the only way, unless we wanted to add a function to like flush it, but I don't think we want to flush. I don't think we want to do that. Because if we add the flush function, let me see. Well, there already is a function that says apply, right? Apply style. Yeah, apply style. Okay, so we can just put it here. Anytime you change any of it, you have to call apply style. So we can flush it here. Okay, we'll go with that. So we'll go back up here. This can, oops, that can be closed. I'll go back up here. We will grab this stuff and put it here. Text dot mesh part dot material dot fragment shader options is this. We'll say uniforms. The map string interface. Is that not right? What is it? Oh, interface. We want this to be BG color or float 64. We can't just do it like that though, can we? We can just do text dot, or I guess we'll just say style dot BG color. Isn't there a two float 64s? Alright, I'm gonna do it like this. Alright. In color. Okay. All right, so it's gonna be, whoops, that don't look right. Should be like this. There we go. There we go. Okay. So 2 float 64 array, and then FG color is just this. Okay, cool. And then we can go from there. We can expand it from there. All right, so text.kage, so nothing should have changed. It should still work basically the same. Yes, that's correct. But now we want to say, let me think. I guess we can do a mix here to try to cut down on if statements. We could say mixed. We want to mix. Mixed it has no x, y, a, t. Okay, so we want to mix between BG color is the this is supposed to be a vec4 actually. Let me see if I can say. Can I do a vec4 here? Does that work? That does not work. Oh no, it could work. Let's see. BG color, FG color, and then mix using res A. Unexpected swizzling A. How so? T is float or vec. Maybe RGBA. Oh, maybe it doesn't like capital A. Try that. Something like that should kind of work, I think. Yo, let's go. Okay, so now this works the exact same as previously, but now we're using a shader to do this, which is good. So now we can say we want outlines. So outline color can be vec4. Outlines thickness can be an int, I guess it would be. Yeah. Let's see if we can do this. I need to test 1 pixel over in every direction, so we'll see. All right, so now we want to go back over here. We want to go to here. We want to say outline thickness int outline color is a color, and we'll start with here. Outline round, cool. So that's the outline settings. So now we can say by default all of those are false or nil. That's fine. Well, I guess outline color can be black by default. But no thickness and it's not round. Okay, that's fine. All right, so now when we go over here to apply the changes, I'm literally going way down here on the right hand side. We can say outline thickness to be style.outline thickness. Outline round, style.round, outline color, style.out color.2 float 64 array. All right, cool. So now we should have all this data in here. So we have thickness, color, and outline round. Cool. Rounded. All right, cool. So now what we want to do is we want to test in all 4 directions, but we need to test like a little bit of like cardboard touched my knee and I was like, oh. All right. So this is going to be the text color. FG color.RGBA. That's fine. But what we want to do here, let me make sure that works. So what we want to do here should work. It does not work because it doesn't like, it doesn't like outline color. I thought outline color guess it's possible. It's possible that outline color does not exist. I guess. How's that possible? Oh, I'm manually setting this. Okay. Got it. Okay, so we will do this. For now, that this will work. All right, cool. Crashed because slice out of bounds. It might be that it doesn't like this. Nope. Slice bounds out of range. Does it not like storing the uniform? Does it not like storing the map outside of the... No? No, there's something else going on. Did I change something? Slice bounds out of range. Slice bounds out of range. Uniforms. Line 7 on the shader. Oh, yeah, it should be rounded. Yeah, you're right. Is that why? What happens if it's blank? It must be why? I guess? Maybe that's why? Is it rounded? No? Well, actually, seg fault could be for a variety of reasons. No, it's not that. Unexpected outline rounded. What do you mean? Oh, unexpected uniform type. Oh, bool. Okay. Okay. Rounded. Let's try that, maybe. Oh, then it can't be bool. Okay, that works. Cool. All right. And thank you very much, SYOW7. Appreciate it. All right. So we need to test around each pixel, which is not hard. That's not hard to do. What I need to do, though, what I'd like to do is to do something like this. Hold on. I need to check. Is there any way to convert? Let me see. Let's see. Okay, texels equals pixels. over the texture size in pixels. Origin size equals image source region on texture. Size origin and source texture size in pixels. A pixel is a unit for one color dot. On the other hand, a texel is a unit covering the whole area with values in between 0 and 1. The meaning of texels depends on a texture. Then you cannot mix texels with different textures. To convert pixels and texels with each other, between each other, you can use these formulas. So pixel is texels times the texture size in pixels. Okay. So we'll try this. Let's say we were trying just to go one over on the left. So then this texels should be image source texture size. So source texels should be text minus text.x minus source.x. And source.x should be texels is the pixels divided by image size.x. Source pixels 0 unsafe at source pixels 0. All right, so outlines, we say if you find something at, let's say, left, then we return the color. Else, okay, so color fg color.rgba. All right, so I guess fg color. This will be color, and then we can just say if you find something, then color equals outline color. It's hard to read, but I think it might be working a little bit. Kind of. No? Kind of. Okay, so we're on the right track. Outline color, let's go back over here. Let's say the outline color is red, just to make it a little easier to see. Oh, that's right, because we're doing this like manually. Where's the main go? Here it is. Outline color. Colors dot red. Okay, so I have a theory about this, and yeah, looking at it, it seems like it's like only working where there's multiple lines, but it is working correctly. It is working only on the pixels. So let's see. If so, we're checking negative. Okay, it should be plus for one thing, probably. But well, let's see. Does that account for part of it? Okay. This is right. That's right. But why is it not all of this? Oh, because it's mixing. I see. Lachi says, hey, finally caught a stream. Yo, what up? How's it going? It's been a while. Okay, so we'll say mix opaque, I guess we'll say, is res.a, but if there's an outline, then opaque is just 1. So basically, if there's an outline or something, then we can just override it and be like, we're always going to display whatever we want. That is correct. That's what we want to see. That's perfect. That's actually really good. Now we just have to do it around all of the corners, the edges, and then that's it. That's how outlines will work. So we just say for x equals 0, x is less, well, x is negative outline thickness. I'm not sure if you can do this actually. Can you loop through an outline? Can you loop through a uniform? I don't think you can do a loop on a uniform. I think it has to be a constant, doesn't it? Let's see. X is less than outline thickness. X is less than outline thickness. X plus. I'll just do that for now. I think this will crash. I don't think this will compile. Yeah. Wait. $24. X is, let me see. Is this wrong? Oh, whoops. There we go. No, expected equals found equals. Is my 4... Oh, there's no, it doesn't like this, I guess. It's taking a long time to be like, this does not compile. Yeah, I don't think this will compile. I don't think it likes that. Force statement must follow this format. Yeah, it has to be a constant. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to say that the thickness can be a maximum of 16, or I guess 32. I guess we'll say 16 pixels thick. I guess we'll say 32, and then we'll just say if x is less than 0 and x, I guess we can just say if absolute x is less greater than outline thickness, continue. Is there no continue? Can't use int as oh, I see. Well, North Antara says, what is that mix function doing? Well, the idea is basically you have, like, I'm rendering to a texture. So this is an example where we're rendering to the texture, and let's say the texture we're rendering is just like, you know, this letter. We'll say this is a letter, right? Letter T. I don't want to always use letter T. Let's say this is letter O. So when we're running through the shader, we're basically saying output either white or black, or output the foreground or the background color and modulate that mix between those using the alpha of the texture. So if the texture looks like this, then we want to modulate between, let's say, yellow and transparent using this white alpha, opaque. But if we have an outline where we're like, oh, we're doing outlines, let's say, so we're checking all of the pixels around the letter. So we're like, is there anything around here? No. Okay, so this is transparent. Is there anything around here? Yes, there's one pixel there. So now, even though there's no like actual letter here, we want to output the outline color no matter what. So we say the opaque, or I guess you could say the transparency is now set to 1. So we're always outputting the outline color. Mix is like a lerp. Yeah. The idea is that basically you're mixing between the first component, which is background, and the second component, which is our outline color or our foreground color, using some value between 0 and 1. It's very useful, and that's what we're using it for. Types don't match. There has to be floats as well. I'm not sure. This should work, right? This should work. All right, there we go. So now what we want to do is just say basically the same thing again, but for Y. And then when it comes to this will do, I think. I don't think this should be too bad for our frames, because even though this is complicated, it's not doing anything for a lot of the time. If outline thickness is greater than 0, so we're just gonna move all this down here. So if there's no outlines, we don't have to think about this. All right. So yeah, this isn't great, but at the same time, I don't think it's a huge deal, because a lot of the like this, you're not going to be rendering a lot of text, like a huge, text object. And if you do, it's probably going to be 1 or 2 text objects. You're not going to be rendering a million of them. So it should be okay, I think. I guess this should be a 4 actually. If X is greater than the outline thickness, or Y is greater than the outline thickness. It's like a slider. One end is color A, other is color B, and the transparency is how far along the slider we're picking. Exactly, that's the idea. Very useful. It's mix in GLSL and mix here in Kage, but it's lerp and slurp in other engines and frameworks and languages, or mix. It might be mixed in certain languages as well. It's very useful. Very useful. It doesn't like something we're doing. Yeah, it doesn't like this. There we go. Okay, so it doesn't like color isn't used, transparency isn't used. Okay, so we'll put this out here. There we go. Core dump. Everybody likes a good core dump. Any explanation? Can you tell me? Thank you. It doesn't like. If statement must be scalar Boolean. Dog is going nuts in the background. This should be scalar Boolean, I believe. He protect, he attack, but most important, he panic on the stack. Okay, let's get this in full screen so I can kind of take a bigger look at it. So there's some kind of problem here. I think it's this, but I'm not sure what the issue is with the line, because this looks fine. If float X is greater than float outline thickness, or float Y is greater than outline thickness, then continue. Does it not like that? Why would it not like that? Let's ignore this. Still doesn't like it. Because I think it might be something else I'm doing. Let's see. Could not implicitly convert operands to a relational operator. If statement must be scalar Boolean. 83. Let's see. If statement must be scalar Boolean. Is it if outline thickness is greater than 0? Is it not? But it's an int. All right, let's simplify this real quick. Still crashing, yeah. Source texels is not used. I never use source texels. It's because it crashed, I'm guessing. Source texels is not used. Yeah, I never use source texels. What are you talking about? Source. All right, hold up. Let's try this. I'm just gonna go bonk. Still not working. Oh, this source texels. Oh, okay. All right, let's just find that out. I'm trying to figure out where the issue might be coming from. Okay, so that works. So I think the issue might be here. And outline thickness is greater than 0. Maybe it doesn't like that. Which is weird because it definitely should be able to compare that. If statement must be scalar Boolean. Maybe it just doesn't like dealing with int. All right, let's say maybe 0 is being like coerced to a float for whatever reason, and that's causing issues. So let's just say that it's only floats, just for simplicity. That was it. Okay. Let me get ready to report this. Bug report. Can't compare int values in okay. Okay, so then okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just see if I can make a simple example to kind of like make sure I'm not going crazy here. Fragment. I'm just gonna copy this. Okay, and then we just say 0 if 0. Yep, that doesn't like that. Okay. I'll submit that later, but I just wanted to make sure I had an idea what the problem was. So I'll just copy this example. Well, I guess I don't have to copy it now that I think about it because I will have it later, but I guess we'll put it in here. There we go. All right. So if it's outside the outline thickness, we don't worry about it. And then we just basically check around like this. This now goes here. If we find something we break, because we don't need false. Equals true. I guess we could just say found break. Not great to have a whole bunch of branching here, but there's not a lot I can do about it. It does not like that. What doesn't it like? Oh, right. Outline thickness. That was the issue. Oh, so this has some levels. Okay, so now we don't need source. We can just say plus float x plus float y. Hold on, let me think. Let me think. So we're checking x and y. We're going around the center. I think this should work. I think this should work. Let's see, what's the issue? Operands must have the same type. They most certainly do have the same type, but let's say if they didn't, say... Oh, I see, because this is right. Okay, so I think they're being set. I see. So this is probably a float. Oh, that's probably why. Okay, that's not why. Must have the same type. Must have the same type. Well, that's definitely here, right? Is it not floats? Maybe they're not floats. Try that. Okay, that's better, but no outline. The outline color. Oh, outline thickness. Let's say the thickness is 1 pixel. Oh, for a second I thought I saw it, but I guess my mind is playing tricks on me. Outline rounded. Well, that's not that important. False. That's fine. Outline thickness is greater than 0. It is found equals. Okay. Found is found. Break. Yeah, that's correct. Found is false. Found. Okay. Well, okay. Let's just say we don't do any of that part of it. Okay, that is better. I think if float x is equal to 0 or float x is greater than outline thickness, or float y is greater than outline thickness. Outline thickness should be 1, right? So if it's greater than outline thickness, it's 1. Like 16, 15, 14, 13, 10, 9, 8, 7, 8. Okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then y goes down to 1. Or goes up to -1. If abs is greater than... is it possible that it's like not exact... It's floating point issues? Let's just say... something like this right now. I just want to see if this is part of it. 0 is being converted to a float. Yeah, it might be something going on with this. I feel like there's something going on here. Because we want the outline thickness to be customizable, and this is kind of the only way to do it. Let's try this. Will that at least make the text come through? It doesn't. I guess this is never 0 exactly. So let's try this instead. Let's try that. What position is your shader running? This shouldn't be. Yeah, it's not working. This shouldn't be a problem at all because X and Y are being, like, I think Kage is internally like converting it to a float kind of automatically. So maybe let's try just like explicitly saying it's a float. Maybe that would help us out a little bit. Then maybe we can get rid of these floats here, kind of simplify this. Something like that first. Then, okay, that still compiles. That's a good sign. Is continue working as expected? Oh, that's true. It may not be. Well, continue I think is working. I think continue is working, but break may not be. Maybe break doesn't exist. Maybe break doesn't exist. Maybe that's the issue. Let's see. Kage or add detention shaker. Does it have break? Or four range. Kage doesn't have these go features for so far. Four ranges. Oh, four range. Four in. Right. But it has import switch, go to, defer, break. Continue. I feel like it should have, if it has four, it should have a continue and break, right? It must. If it has those, it definitely should work then. Has go to, so you gotta break out of it that way. That's true. That would be better than a break, than this break system. So let's try that. This would be something like that, and then we can just say go to outline. Something like that. Let's try that. It's an unexpected statement in label the statement. Oh, I got a visitor. Okay, sorry about that. I'm like, my brain was like, well, I had a visitor, but my brain is still cooked. Lachi says, won't that be an infinite loop? Yeah, you're right. I mean, but it has to be doesn't it have to be, does it have to pass the label? Can it do that? We'll see. That doesn't seem impossible, but there's something that it doesn't like here. How do labels work? How is it? How's the label supposed to? Okay, so it's supposed to be like that, yeah, and then it's just go to, and then that's it. Oh, labels are not block scoped. Okay, that's fine. Thanks. Label. I mean, I don't think I need to do this. Oh, it might be a function. Yeah, maybe it has to be like this. Nope. Expected found. How does go to work, dude? It says go to is a thing. Oh, it doesn't have that feature. I just didn't even read, dude. I didn't read. I didn't read. It doesn't have that feature. My bad. Okay. So if it doesn't have go to, or at least that's what the shader document says. No, doesn't it? Does it have go to? It's valid token. All right. Apparently it doesn't have go to, so we're not gonna trip on that. Let's just leave it like this for now. We can't just leave it like this for now. It's gonna turn into that. This should work if x and y are less than 0.1. Oh no, if absolute x and y is less than 0.1, then continue. Is that not how that works? Absolute x and y is less than 0.1. I think this is correct the way it would look, but it's not working. Well, kind of correct. If x and y is less than 0.1, if the absolute x and y, continue. Maybe continue isn't working. Let's break. No. Break should definitely exist. Oh wait, if it's less than -1 or it's greater than 1. Okay, that's better. That's better. So maybe abs doesn't like that outline thickness. Can we turn that into a float? Why don't I? Isn't it already a float? Yeah, it is. So if it's less than outline thickness or it's greater than outline thickness, or y is less than outline thickness, or y is greater than outline thickness. Break. What? Oh, yeah, no, break. X is less than negative outline thickness, or X is greater than outline thickness, or Y is less than negative, or Y is greater than outline thickness. then break. Isn't that the same thing as continue essentially? I mean, no, it's not the same, but why would... Oh, this is red now. It didn't used to be red. Oh. If it's less... All right, well, let's say something like... Hold on. Maybe I'm on the right track. Hold on. All right, so now this is red, which is what we want, kind of. But we want the thickness to be 1. So if it's less than... I guess another way to do this would just be if it's greater than greater than or equal to negative outline thickness, and is less than or equal to outline thickness, and y is greater than or equal to negative outline thickness, and y is less than or equal to outline thickness, then we just do this. I mean, that's effectively the same kind of thing, I guess. All right. So I think this is straight up just like an issue of floating point inaccuracy. Let's add a margin in there. So I guess we could just say thickness, really. So if it's less than thickness, if it's greater than thickness, or is less than or equal to negative thickness. Oh no, if it's greater than or equal to negative thickness, or is less than or equal to thickness. Alright, so this is definitely better for readability. Might be what we're looking for. No, why is it? Outline thickness. What is outline thickness? It's 1. Yeah, so if we say 2, does that make it thicker? No. Why not? 4? It's greater than 2 thickness. If it's greater than or equal to negative thickness, outline thickness plus margin of outline thickness is float. Outline thickness is 4. Int. You know what? I guess we can just make this a float. Well, no. That doesn't make much sense. But we can turn it into a float here. Better. Okay. There we go. Maybe it doesn't convert correctly. Okay, so outline thickness plus margin. Okay, cool. So if it's and x is less than or equal to 0, and I guess we could just say if x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 0. No. Okay, so if absolute x is less than 0.1 and absolute y is less than 0.1, continue. Why is this? Oh. Right. Okay. Okay, I got it. That's why that wouldn't work. So let me rethink this. All right, so basically we just want to do this if thickness is greater than 0 and res A is less than 0.5, we'll say. So if there's nothing there, essentially. Yo, let's go. Better. All right, so there's a couple things we need to do. For one, you can just kind of leave some. Yo, cool. All right, so we got some outlines. That looks pretty good. I mean, it's obviously skewing because PS1, but that's not bad. No, I think it's doing something weird. We want to check some things. Let's go back here because I noticed that there's a line on the right side. Didn't I see a line on the right side? Maybe not. All right, that looks pretty good. That's really good. So, yeah, actually that's better than anticipated. So we can say colors that blue and make this white. Or make this sky blue and then make the inside white. And then there you go. Cool. All right, cool. So now we just have to do the same thing, but for outlines or shadows. Oh wait, and we also want to make it round. Try to do a round outline. North Antara says, I think that first if is always going to be true since it includes margin. You are right. So it has to be greater than margin. Thickness is, so I guess, yeah, we can just say if outline thickness is greater than 0. And res, thank you. So we want it to be round, which the idea here, I think if we want it to be round, is we only want to check X and Y individually rather than together. So if it's rounded, we basically check text X and text Y. So basically we say if outline rounded else. So here's this result. Otherwise, I guess we'd just, well, okay, that should help out a little bit. Crash. If condition must be bool, but float. It feels like I'm playing a Dark Souls game, dude. This is a float. It has to be greater than 0. Oh, what does it mean? Okay. All right, so if it's rounded, then we can say something like this, right? I guess we could just say So there's a lot of overlap here. I'm not sure if how I feel about it. I guess the right answer is I don't feel good about it. So maybe we should be doing something differently. Maybe we should put it something like this. This is green. This is green. This is green. Well, but we want. Hold up. Let me just do this real quick. So orange is here. Green is. I think that's what we want. So blue. Oh, this red is bad. There we go. So if the outline is rounded, then we do this. But otherwise, we want to check it differently. So let's try this. Rounded. So I guess it's actually if it isn't rounded. All right, so something like this, I think. Expected declaration found return. Expected declaration found return. Oh. Well, where's this getting its? Okay. Well, then where's this getting its thing from? That's there, that's there. No. This should be here. Alright, and then this should be here. All right, I think I'm on the right track. All right, we're still good. We're still good. All right, now what we want to do is we want to say rounded it to be true. And when it's rounded is true, we basically do this a little differently. We say for I equals negative 16, I is less than 16, I plus plus. And then we do this. Except instead of found, so found can be here because we don't have found. All right, so if outline rounded, if we're rounded, then we basically do this. We break. Instead, we say text. So we're basically testing this like so. This should be I now. This is 0. And we say if this is true, or this, for Y. So I guess we could just say, no, we can't just say, yeah, that's the way it is. I guess we could do it like this and then just say, whoops, source pixels X, source pixels Y. All right, so that should kind of do it, I think. Also, this should be I. Okay, there's no Y component here. All right, so that should do it, I think. It did not do it. Missing comma in argument list. Yeah, my bad. unexpected identifier X. What are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about? Oh, that's why. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, dude? Okay. It ain't working. Let's see. If I is greater than or equal to negative thickness, and I is less than or equal to thickness, okay. Text.x plus I divided by image size plus I. So it's negative x. Right, so we're checking. Oh, yeah, this needs to be text is, yeah, text.x, text.y. And this needs to be text.x. All right, so I think if we do this, I think this should be it. I think this should be it. This should now be a rounded. Yo, I'm pogging. Okay, so look at all that math, all that work to get this stupid little effect. But now the outline is round. You can see it's rounded. Ooh. Oh, this doesn't even work though, dude. I just didn't even realize, but if you make the thickness thicker, then it doesn't work because it's no longer, it's just going in one direction. You can see it there. That's the problem. That's no good. All right, well, I guess the right thing to do would be to like measure the distance or something. I don't know. I'm done. I'm not even gonna worry about outline rounding for now, because my brain is like, it's a little cooked. It's probably not even that complicated. Okay, so if we, it would just be getting the distance. It's just distance. That's all it is. It's just distance. Okay, so let's go all the way back. All right. So what we want to do is say if outline rounded is greater than 0, or this. So if outline is rounded, well, I guess we can just do this and then just say if either not outline rounded or wait, what? Oh shoot, don't tell me. Oh, I think I messed this up, dude. How'd I mess it up? I'm scared. Okay, so I think what I need to do, we need to go back here. We need found to be false. We need to put found here, found true, and then we say if found break twice here. Okay, we were missing that. Now I think if your outline isn't rounded, then it's fine, right? It's blocky. Or if it is rounded, this should short circuit first. So if it is rounded, then we want to know if the source texels minus text. This is a vector, right? Let me see, vector 2. Does it have magnitude? Does it have distance? Does it have? I'm looking for magnitude. I'm looking for. I need distance. I need magnitude. Where is it at? Distance. Okay. So, wait. Distance is okay. P0, P1. So if distance is greater than or equal to outline thickness, or I guess less than or equal to. All right, so I think that should work. That should be, I think, what we need. It does not work. Types don't match. Oh, if outline rounded is equal to 0. Or the distance is less than or equal to outline thickness. Now that should be better. All right, so this is square, blocky. Rounded is true. So if rounded is, let's see. Let me just try this real quick. I just want to see if this is correct. Distance. Where's texels? Text. Less than outline thickness. Oh, that's the texels. That's the distance from the texels. I need to multiply the texels to turn them back into pixels. That would be this high. Oh, I guess can we do the? Maybe we can do this. No, maybe we can do this. The texture size in pixels. That would be this guy. Image size. Maybe. Maybe. It does not like that. Okay. Wait. Types don't match. Vec2 and float. 38. Oh, image size. Oh, yeah. Times image size. Times image size. Maybe this will work. I mean, it's I can't even say it's close. Kind of, a little. So let's see. Source texels. Text.x plus image size. So maybe we can just do text plus vec2 xy times image size. That might be better. It most certainly is not better. Text plus vec2 xy times image size. Well, I guess that's not what we want to do. It's times image size. I guess maybe we could do this. Maybe. This might be the best I'm gonna get, dude. It's for whatever reason kind of, well, I mean that's yeah, I mean I guess that's pretty correct. Yeah, that's pretty much what it would look like if it was that big of an outline. Yeah, I suppose so. That's fine. It feels weird, but it feels so like bubbly. But I guess that's correct. I guess. Is it correct? Like I can't even really tell. Maybe I'm cracked. Am I cracked? I guess I'm kind of cracked. Okay, yeah. I got it. Let's go. Cool. Okay, very nice, very nice. So we have both rounded and unrounded or blocky outlines. Fantastic. So now we just, bruh, oh wait. Okay, there we go. So we have blocky outlines. And we have outline rounded is true. Outline rounded. Rounded is 1. Can we make it float 32, 0? Okay, so now over here, rounded, it's a float. That might make the difference. Yeah. Now it's rounded, okay. That's another bug. It looks like basically like if you have an integer and you put it into the uniform, it doesn't, you can't make it into a float, basically. It should basically throw a complaint. It should be like, you're making it into a float in the Kage shader, please convert it. The super thick outline would probably look a lot better with bigger text. Yeah, or if you do the gradient thing you mentioned. Yeah, probably so. All right, so this was a lot, but we got there. Now shadows should basically be the same concept. I guess we want to do shadows first and then outlines. And if we did do a shadow, then we just treat it as though we did the outline. Like when we do the outline, we say, hey, did you do a shadow? If so, then kick the outline out. So we basically offset the X and Y here by the outline. I think. We'll see. This is up here. This is up here. Do we actually use margin here? I'm not sure if we did. Yeah, it might have just been, it needed to be floats. This alone is pretty good. Like this, I'm pretty happy with this. Yeah. Cool. So, yes, that's fine. Outline thickness. All right. Cool, cool, cool. I completely forgot to change the music. I've been just like grinding for like 2 hours without even thinking about it. Give me that. Give me that banger. All right, so now shadows are this, but only one direction, basically. So we're just gonna copy that code. Shadow length can be a float. Shadow vector should be a vec2, and then shadow color should be a vec4. And that's the general idea. We're not gonna round it shadows just for simplicity, I guess. Should be okay. Shadow length should be an int. Shadow color. Shadow vector should be Lachi says doesn't go have generics now. Yeah, it does. But I don't want to like force this to be updated to the latest version of Go, because this is not my own personal game. engine. Yeah, like I'm not. I want to keep it as accessible as possible for people who might be on older versions of Go. Maybe if you're installing or building your game on, something where you don't have complete control over it, like a build system or something like that. It'd be nice if you have some wiggle room. So I think I'm on. Let me see. Am I on generics yet? 1.18. I guess I am. Is that 1.18? Yes. Okay. So yeah, I should update it probably for generics. I'll put that in the README. I'll put it down here. Might also be good to replace color with just color. Break change. Okay, so nothing worse than going back to an old project, and nothing works because all the packages were deprecated and removed. I still support .NET FX 4.5 in my Discord library too, because I wanted to support people with older Unity. Yeah, I mean, like, in truth, I think that's a good idea, like, to try to support older stuff. I think it doesn't really work for this because Tetra 3D is already up to date. It's already 1.18, which has generics. Well, I guess I try not to push it too far forward, because like if you're building in GitHub or something, then you may not have the latest access to the latest version of Go, because you might be building on an older, for example, an older distribution of Linux, like Ubuntu, 18 or something like that, to try to use like an older version of what's it called? The math library, like the fundamental. What's it called, dude? What's it called? I can't think, dude. What's the thing? The G libc. Yeah, not math. The G libc. You might be like building your game on an older version of Linux that has like, to try to capture the oldest version of glibc for ideally, backwards compatibility or whatever. And instead of, building, like, you can build with like the Steam runtime that basically will package in everything, but you might be building on like an older version of Ubuntu or something that has an old glibc, and so maybe it doesn't have Go 1.23 or whatever we're on. I think we're on 1.19, 1.20. We're on Go 1.20. Yeah, so like you might be on 1.18. So it's good to kind of support backwards compatibility or just older stuff if possible. Hey, by the way, it says, that one thing. Yeah, exactly. That one thing. I will admit my cross-platform package is always updated to latest just because consoles require later versions for SDK, so literally no point to backwards compatibility. Yeah. It's always fun to being able to use the new stuff. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Okay, so we're trying to get this to work here. Shadow. We can split this over here. Shadow vector, shadow length. Oops. Okay, then if outline color isn't nil, and then outline shadow color is not nil, then we're gonna put the shadow color in there. All right. So the idea that I have for this is basically for shadows, we basically just check. Let me see. So we check for each pixel, we check in a direction until we reach So I guess for shadows, it's a little different. It's kind of similar to the rounded approach we took at first. We just basically step forward a distance, and then once we run into, I guess really it might be better to step forward half a distance twice as many times, so you don't have any risk of like overshooting a pixel. But I think the core idea here is about the same. I'm just gonna start over, even though I copied all that stuff. It's not that hard to just start from scratch. So this is gonna be shadow length. And shadow vector x is not equal to 0, and shadow vector dot y is not equal to 0. Okay. So basically we say for I is equal to -16, I is less than 16, I plus plus. So then we say, because we're gonna basically skip through the vector. So we're gonna say this is our working vector. It's gonna be a vec2. We're going to, it's gonna start on text x and text y. Actually this is, we'll say check condition is this, but the shadow vector should be vec2 text x, or not text x, but rather shadow vector dot x shadow vector dot y, and we'll multiply that by I divided by 2. What do you think? Is there a chance that we could overshoot it if we're in this pixel and we're trying to check 1? I'm just thinking, hold on. Let's try it. Let's try it and see what the results look like. So, this is I is, okay, it's a float. All right, so we're checking on the vector. The check is gonna be this plus shadow v. And then we just basically say, or I guess we could just, the shadow vector is always, like the shadow vector is this way. Then we want to check, and this pixel the opposite, so it should be negative shadow vector. So you're checking like that. Like if the vector is down right, you want to check on this pixel up left. And if you're here, check. Let's see. How do we want to do this? For I is 16. No, it was less than 16. So then, yeah, I guess it's just 0. Well, it's just 1, because we can ignore the same pixel as the shadow. We want to check out, right? Yeah. And then we say if I is greater than shadow length, right? Or in other words, if I is less than, oh yeah, that's fine, greater than shadow length break. Okay, so this is what we're checking. So it's just this plus this. Okay, so then we just say if this then we found something. So color is shadow color, transparency is 1.0. All right, so that should be it. So let's try it out. We will just be like, we don't want any outlines for now. Let's try shadow vector. It's going to be -1, -1, 0, 0. Or I guess it would be grab the mic. It says, hello, hello. Thanks for coming to the stream. Yeah, okay, that should work, I think. All right, so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna normalize the vector. Do you have any screenshots of the game visuals? The words PS1-Like got me really interested. Sure. This is, well, okay, so here is what the game looks like currently. Should still load. It does not still load. Found. It does not. Found. Oh, whoops. This right here. Not sure if this will work. Let's see. Hopefully it does. Okay, cool. So basically, this is my own custom 3D renderer, which is basically, okay, well, there's a couple things here. So firstly, this is low resolution, but also it's a custom 3D renderer that works by drawing 2D triangles, but like bending them in 3D, doing the calculations to do math, doing the math to do 3D, surfaces on the CPU. So this isn't really 3D like with OpenGL or Vulkan or anything like that, DirectX. This is instead a custom 3D renderer that just uses two-dimensional triangles to draw things in 3D. The end result is that the games rendered, or objects rendered through this rendering system, which is Tetra 3D, which I should have put in the chat. Sorry, it's open source. I'm not sure if I can do this like this. Maybe, I don't know. Let me do it like this. With Tetra 3D. All right, that might work. But basically the end result is you have this like affine texture mapping bending. It looks like a PlayStation 1 game. Yeah, that's the idea. Now this is not working because something. Oh, it's because it's I see. Let's do that for now. Looks like a late stage arcade game. That's kind of the vibe I'm going for, yeah. With that one, where with this one, not quite PS2 era. It's I mean, I guess the resolution's kind of high. Yeah, I should just fix that like that, shouldn't I? Okay. Now this is more so like PlayStation 1. Came to the game dev Twitch category to try to find some work as a voice actor. Any chat, see you need any lines. Maybe not for, maybe for this game. This is more so PS1-ish. Resolution's still a little higher than a PS1 game, but I mean, I didn't want to make it like grading. But you have affine texture mapping, texture like bending, as you can see, as triangles get closer to the camera, and naturally low poly graphics, because this isn't capable of doing fast or like really complex models. I think it looks the part without having genuinely bad graphics. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, so this is more PS1. This is more traditional PS1. But yes, I mean, like, a game like this needs, some bad voice actors. And I don't mean not you. I don't mean that you're bad. I just mean the voice acting in PS1 games and Dreamcast games and stuff like that tended to be bad, and that was part of the charm. So like, I could definitely see like, some crunchy lo-fi, dude hamming it up just for fun. I don't know. I gotta think about it. I'm not sure, but I appreciate your offer. I gotta think about it. See if I could get maybe some voice actors to actually have people say stuff. There's a bit of an emergency. There's duck crossing, and we're gonna dig. Gosh darn it, we're gonna let him take his time. Like, why? I gotta put a duck beyond here, like just barely in the fog. You can see like a little duck. Suddenly hearing some Command and Conquer cutscenes in my head. Yeah, just hammy, unnecessarily, just unnecessarily like serious and overblown, and just the mic is trash and the bitrate low. That's just the energy. That's the energy. That's exactly the thing I'm going for with PS1. So PS1 style like rendering. So yeah, this is more so like that. It'd be cool to have something like that. But in the meantime, I'm working on text right now. Working on getting text squared away. But I'll definitely check out your voice reel. Yeah, I'll listen to that. I'll listen to that in a little bit. Thank you very much. Thank you for your offer. Networking is fun. Both, well, not the kind where you're programming networking, but where you're networking with other game developers and voice artists and stuff like that. I joined your Discord. If you decide on the offer, you know where to find me. Have a nice day. Thank you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. All right, so we're golden. We're cooking, I think. I'm just rubbing my face. It's just like my brain is just like cooked, but I'm not done yet. I'm close. I'm close to getting this. All right, so shadows. So now, if this works correctly, check shadow vector. We can't do it like this. We have to do this. Oh, that's right. Image size x. Size y. But then also we need to shadow vector. Yep, shadow vector. Okay, we want to do this. We want to normalize the vector. There we go. All right, so that should help out a little bit. I'm not sure if that will actually get us anything. It does not get us anything. Unless, oh, I have to actually do this as well. Shadow length should be like, let's say 3. Shadow color, let's say is, well, I think it defaults to black, right? It does not. It defaults to nothing. Okay. No. Oh, wait. Yo, there's shadow. There's shadow. Yo, it's working. Hold on. Okay, hold up. Just calm down, everybody. Just calm down. I gotta think. Shadow vector, so we want it to be like this. That would be down right down. Yeah. It's working, but it's dark. Hold on. Shadow color. Can we get red? Okay, this works really well. It's really good, but there's definitely some problems. Oh, no, I guess that's all correct. There's something, it feels like, I guess it's correct because it's like it's cutting. Yeah, I guess it's right. I guess that's all correct. Okay. So we I'm just shut up, everybody. Just hold on. I'm trying to think. Okay, so this is working. All right, I thought that it was lagging. It's not lagging. Okay. I'm just like, hold up. I gotta think, what am I doing? What do I do? So I need to, I mean, that really is pretty much what we're looking for. I mean, do we even, should the outline just be on top? Do we just want the outline to be on top of the shadow? Does that make sense? That kind of does. Like, it kind of does work. If the outline thickness, yeah, if the shadows were like this and the colors was, let's say, blue, and then we say, yeah, that's about right. I mean, like, I feel like that actually kind of gets you something that doesn't look too bad. Maybe the shadow should be underneath the outline. Oh, but yeah, maybe we want the shadow to be square. Maybe we want the shadow to be square. Okay, so in order for us to do that, to basically give each pixel a depth, because like I think what we're doing right now, we have a pixel, right? Oh, I get a nice. I'm getting popular. I get here's a bot. I think Doge hype. Yeah, nah, dude. Sorry about this, but I'm gonna need you to not to be here. What? No, I'm not trying to. There we go. Okay, I think I got it. Please don't spam. All right, so basically, back to what I was doing. All right, so this is what we're doing. This is a pixel, right? And for shadows, we're like, okay, you know, for example, this pixel out, we test 4 pixels up left. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's a pixel here. Test 4 pixels up, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's a pixel. And there we go. So this is what we end up with. But we don't probably want that. We probably want something like this, right? Like something a little bit more like that. Because when you have a letter, like, you know, this, rather than this, you probably want to end up with something like that, right? Maybe not. I don't know. Like in practice, it doesn't look too good. Well, it might help us to, that might help us to basically, like if we had a little, oh, no, I guess we could just shadow after the outline if we wanted it to look better. So let's go back, let's get rid of the outline. Okay, yeah, so in this example, we pretty much want to check each component, I think, each component of it individually. So like if we, let me go over here. So in this example, let's say our letter is like this, right? And we're just checking 1 pixel up and to the left. This won't get a shadow because there's no pixel up and to the left. But really we want to check like boom, boom, or boom, boom, because either one of these would hit a pixel, right? So we want to check, I guess, these 3 pixels up left, assuming that you're aiming up left. You want to check up left and from the original pixel up and left. And if any of those are true, then we set the shadow to be there. So let's do that. I mean, I guess, let's try that. That might give us a better result. No. Okay, that's right. But it's left. So I think what we want to do. So that's right. That's right. That's right. This would be right. This, how do we get this? To put the shadow there, we have to check up or left. But if the letter is bigger like this, then how do we have to check, like this would never be, it would never hit anything. So like this works. But how do we hit that? How do we hit that inside? Yeah, even that alone would be good, I think, because then we could just go like this. Something like that. Let's see, in order for us to hit that angle, we have to hit up or left. Up, left, or up and left. So takes X plus version. So I guess what we can do like this. Check, and then check x dot y minus shadow b dot y. Check y dot y. Something like that might help. No, not really. It's still off. I'm close, but I'm not quite there. Let's go back a little bit. I want to see what this looks like. Yeah, you can see there's a hole in certain letters, like the P, the part where the pixel the P bends. At the bottom right, there's a black line or a space where the shadow didn't fill in because there's no bottom right pixel to test against. So I guess we can just solve this by checking in sequence. So maybe just like this. No, I don't want to do that, but that might give us a little bit of a better result. Let's see. This checks. This checks up, left. We could just. I mean, we could, but I don't really want to do that. Yeah, we could try this and see if this gives us a better result. I don't think that this is really what I want to do, but we can give it a shot, see how it looks. Oh. Something like that, I think. Oh no, wait. I'm not sure if this will work, but we can give it a shot and see. Oh, it would be 0.5 divided by shadow image size dot X. I don't know. Lachi says, this is software rendering, isn't it? So the shader is all ahead of time? Nah, the the rendering is using the GPU. The software rendering portion is transforming the vertices in 3D. So transforming the vertices from 3D to 2D points on your screen. But then drawing the triangles is still on the GPU, and rendering a shader is still on the GPU. Man, I feel like we're right there. This isn't quite what we want. It's just a little messier. So what we want to do, we want to basically check in sequence. Surely there's a way to hot reload the shaders. Yeah, there is. But the issue, I mean, like, I don't really think it's a hot reload issue here. It's just me not knowing quite what to do. Like, I know what I need to do, but the problem is, like, if we're checking out from here, we can be like, okay, let's check 2 pixels up. 1, 2. There is something there. All right. Let's check 2 pixels up. 1. Okay, there is something there. So that's fine. Both of these pixels would fill in. But the problem is here, we're like, hey, let's check 2 pixels up. There's nothing. We need to check like this or like this. If we offset the check in pieces, in stages, I think it should work. But how do we do that? How do we offset it? Because the check is all at once. So, I mean, like, we can't do it in, yeah, it's the we have to do it in pieces. How do I do it in pieces? Some other line algorithm. Yeah, DDA maybe. Like, basically what we need to do is make text X and Y. We add to it the vector times I. Oh, so I guess we can just, oh yeah, that's right. That makes more sense. Okay. We just have to split it up, literally. Okay, so, yeah, it's just this. Didn't I try this? Wait. Hold on. Oh, that's what I need to, I see. This is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. There we go. I was like, why? What am I missing? All right, so check X and check Y can both be like this. Check X, we add that. Check Y, we add this. And then we just say if check X or check Y. And then if else, we just say check X equals plus equal shadow v dot y X for Y, and there we go. That should do it. That should be better. Oh my gosh, it's not. Let's see. X plus equal X. Oh, yeah, we don't need it to be Y. That means that the shadow vector can just be this. It can be out here too. What's the issue? Expected found plus equals shadow v dot x. What do you mean? Why is this a problem? Okay, well, don't fight it. No, why is this a problem? What's the issue? Shadow vector exists out there. Image size is here. Oh, there's a thing down there. It's this. Line 45, yeah. Ugh. That is closer. That's significantly closer, I think. Whoa. Do you guys see that? I think it's closer, but it's not right either way. How did I do that? Oh, it's like it's doing stuff that it shouldn't be doing. Weird. I feel like I'm on the right track. Plus equals shadow v dot x plus equals shadow v dot y. It might be a I don't know, it's broken. Let's see. If I is greater than shadow length break, that's right. Okay. Check X, check Y, color, break, cool. X plus cool. Maybe it needs to be like yeah, okay, that's correct. That looks better. That looks a lot better. It's not perfect, but that's a lot better. Yeah, that's a lot better. That's much better. Okay, we can actually, let me change it so you can see what it looks like. Okay, didn't it look better before? Hey, dude, what is... It is changing before my eyes. Yeah, it's doing something weird. I'm not sure. I gotta figure it out. It's just like... Does the outline also act weird? Is it like something wrong with the compiler? With the shader compiler? That looks perfectly fine. No, it looks fine. Okay, so maybe it's something I'm doing with the shadow vector? I mean the shadow code? Let's see. X and Y are this, shadow V is that. Okay, let's go shadow V dot X and Y if either X or Y. Okay, that also might be good to put over here. Color equals shadow color, transparency equals 1.0 break. Okay, and then check X equals this plus shadow V times I. Shadow V is this times I. I is this. Okay, so then it increments them individually. X and Y. I'm close, but yeah, I don't think I'm right. Yeah, why does it do that? Maybe the shadow length is being like changed, but we only apply this once, right? Let's see. I think we only apply it once. Yeah, so why would it change how it renders? There might be something wrong with my rendering code, actually. There might be something else that's going on. Okay, well, I feel like I'm close. I feel like I'm pretty close. Once I get the shadow working, that kind of hits like the things I wanted to do, is shadows and outlines. And then maybe I'll mix them together by outlining the shadow or not. I'm not sure exactly which of the two, whether I'm just going to leave the outline on top or outline the shadow. That's the better approach, but it's also harder to do. But after that, I mean, you know, at that point, it's just like making it be nicer. I could definitely do this, where it's like different sides have different colors, just by basically checking to see what. Well, actually, this is not possible. Well, I guess you could just check to see, like, is the pixel you touched vertical? Nah, you can't do it that way. Yeah, you can't do this. The idea I had was not, it's not feasible. But it would be cool if it could be feasible. This shouldn't be too difficult. It should be just a matter of basically coloring it, like lerping according to the distance from the pixel out. So the closer it is to the found pixel, the closer it is to the first color, and the further it is to the other color. So that's not hard, I don't think. But this will be tough. I'm not sure how I would even do that. Anyway, it's been real. I've been streaming for 3 hours, and I didn't even mean to. I'm gonna get some dinner. Thank you very much for watching. Yeah, it's been real. If you want to try out Tetra 3D yourself, please feel free. The link's in not the description if you're watching on Twitch. Here, it is in a message I sent back previously, and I can send it again. There we go. And if you're on YouTube, then it should be in the description, I guess. I don't know. I'll put it in there in the description, I guess. It's been real. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Thank you very much for watching. And if you want to support some more game development, please check out my Patreon. Check out my itch page for Master Plan. Check out my stuff on YouTube. Yeah. North Antara says I really need need to spend time with Go. I love C, so it's right up my alley. Yeah, I really like Go. It's really simple. It's easy to use. It feels modern. I like it. But yeah, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I think I'll be able to go and stream again tomorrow. And maybe we'll do either more of this or maybe master plan or maybe music. Some music stuff. I don't know. I got to check out that schedule and change it to be whatever I plan to do. But anyway, it's been real. I'll catch you guys later, and thank you very much for watching.